Alright, today I'm gonna do a little messing around. I'm gonna make door panel templates. So I really only need to make two. One for the front door, one for the back door. That's what I'm gonna do. So I got panel board, but I learned over the decades, literally decades, I'm used to these old cars that use panels. That's the interiors that I've done on my cars for decades. So I've learned on these cars using panel boards, they work, but they usually don't last, especially if you're in a snow, rain conditions. If you actually use your car, not just clean it, car show it, but if you actually use it, eventually the water gets to the panel board, which I'll show you that in a second. It's not waterproofed and it'll warp and it doesn't last. So I try to use some panel that is doesn't be affected by water, which I'll show later on. But what I'm gonna do is tools I need: cardboard, pen, you can use a razor blade or scissors. So what I'm gonna do is just basically make a cardboard template of the exact panel plus the holes, do all that, and then transfer it over to the board. It's kind of simple. It's time consuming because you gotta get the placement for all this stuff right, which I'll record it, but it's a process, and you may need a couple pieces because all the time you get it right the first time. So here's the panel board, whatever you want to call it. So what do they call it? I call it Main USA, whatever. This stuff. Now this one you're looking at was for, I believe that's the 56 old Super 88. This is the first one. Like I said, I've done two of them. This was the first one I made, which covered, flattened that whole area. And then this one, I believe, is the 300. The Chrysler 300, if I remember right. It's been a while, so I might have them backwards, but they probably are backwards. Who knows? But one of them's 56 olds, one of them's the 300. What I'm gonna do is, they're big enough for these door panels, so I'm gonna go and do that. But like I said, the issue with them is they're very porous, almost like a particle board. So when this gets saturated, it swells, warps, you name it. So yeah, the board that I've used in the past, I forgot what it's called. Like I said, I'll show it in the future here. It's kind of a white material, but I don't remember what it's made out of. But you could throw it in a bathtub, doesn't matter. But let me get started on the cardboard template. And getting all these off, I spent about an hour looking for my tool. I have a tool for that, but it's finally said, I could have had these off like 10 times already. So it's pretty easy to get them off. I use my fingers. It's actually, to me, easier than the tool. So I just get my fingers in there to grab one of these right here, and I just pull it. When it's on here, I'll just fill my finger in here till just one of those, just like this, and I'll pull it back just like that. It's actually pretty simple, and these are the heavy metal ones, not the cheap ones, so it's actually easier to get off than the tool. Then I need this little tiny thing. I don't know what size this is. 2 millimeter fits. There's an Allen screw right down in here. 2 mil. It's a little bit loose. So whatever size this is, it fits. So he's got to loosen the Allen. I don't know if you can see it, how it has a screw in there. Just that little tiny, probably can't see inside there, but little tiny Allen screw goes in there and holds it. Just a little flat in here. That's all it is. So, yeah. I'm gonna see if my backup doors have these. If I remember right, 66, 67 were different. One of them, 66, I believe, had these. These are the door locks, is what these are. So 66, I believe, had these. 67 had the one you push right here, or vice versa. I can't remember on this car because it has 67 front end, and I can't remember if the doors were 66, 67. It's confusing. But either way, one of the years has the bottom. Somebody knows, just comment it, or I'll research it and put the facts on which year had that. I'm pretty sure both years did not. It was kind of a 1 year. Okay, I got that off, so now I'm going to start with the cardboard. Basically, I'll put it in position. I won't cut these out first, because what I want to do is get the top and bottom first. And then what I'll do is, since I go to how I do it is I go to kind of the flat end. So this end has a curve up towards the top. This end has a little bow, but it's not so bad. So I could take a marker and mark it. And then what I'll do is I'll cut it. I'll cut the cardboard so I'll have the top and bottom right, and then I'll have this radius right. Then what I'll do is I'll slide the board about this far in, further than I need it, to mark it flush with this side. And then when I cut that side flush, when I slide this back where it needs to go, that side will be perfect. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'll show you. So I'm doing this one a little different. I'm just messing around. I don't really care for this piece of cardboard. Doesn't really have a good flat end, even that side. So it's close, but what I want to do is mess around. I measured from here to here on both, and it's 17 5/8 up here, 17 3/8 back here, so it narrows slightly. So all I did is mark that on here and here, which it'll get it close. It won't be perfect yet because the overall length is too long. So, but what I'm gonna do is cut this, put it up there, see how it fits, and then if that's good, then I can work on the front to back. Yeah, there's some excessive amount of trimming. I got this pretty even all the way down, so it's right where I want it. Now the challenging part, the inside. I got to get the rough shape. It's kind of curved, no straight lines. Get that. And then when I get that, then all I got to do is put this into place and press to get the marks on the cardboard for the holes, the 3 holes, the window, the door crank, and the lock. So those are the easy ones once you get this in place. So what I'm going to do now is probably do a rough trim. Normally, if it's easy access to get to, what I would do is I'll take this and I'll overlap it this way, about right here, and then trim that side. So then when I move this back, basically I'm overcutting this. So then when I move this back, it'll be in the right measurement or the right length. And this is not completely critical because you got what you're wrapping it. It's going to make a little thickness. So yeah, once the board sits in there, this will be nice and snug. These are pretty simple. I do have the armrest holes I got to do as well. Those will probably be the funnest. I'll probably try measurements first, see if I can spot them out and then punch the holes. Okay, on this one I started to go from behind and get a line going, but it's not really feasible. So basically what I did is get this board in place, and then I pressed this to get a rough seam close enough. Now I'm going to trim it, and then it'll be trimmed to fit. Long process, but it'll work. Alright, it came pretty close, almost spot on right here. Gotta take that little corner off, and I gotta go from here, pretty much come down, and then barely off right there. So it's getting close. It's just slowly, do it slow. Overcut will suck. So you got it dead on. Yeah, even around, leave some room for the fabric thickness. Perfect. Now all you do is make sure it's tight in place, and then I'll just press on it to get the marks for the. You might be able to see. Here's a little nub. I was pressing on this. Here's a little nub. And there's the nub. There's the actual metal sticking through. But now I got a rough thing. We'll turn it around. Draw a hole and get them cut out. Good. Alright. Got it. Line's good. Sitting nice and flat. Got the idea where the holes are. All I'm going to do is center mark on the actual real template. This is a template of the template. So this is obviously cardboard. We'll put it on the panel board. The panel board is going to be our actual template. So the thing is I have a 65 Nova. Well, this won't work for that because this is a 4-door. The 2-door doors are longer. So I'm going to have templates for a 4-door, which is the Wagon or the 4 doors, and then I got to make templates of the 2 doors. So I only need one because all you got to do is, flip this reverse. It'll do the exact same on the other side. So if it's not, you got an issue somewhere. Yeah, it should be matched. So there it is. I'm going to transfer this over to the panel board, and then that is going to be some trimming and sanding to get the fit that I want too. So this is to get me super close in the ballpark, and then I'll go from there with the other one. So I'm going to do the back doors. That'll be probably what I'm going to do next, to be honest. I'll do that. I did mark, you know, front, rear, but I need to put driver side, and then I'll put PS on the other side so I don't get it backwards. So these are the poppers. You can kind of see it right there. So I just lined it up. Punch a hole. So I'll be able to mark those on the other one. I just got some more to do. I think there's three or four down that side. So we get to doing that. There's only two in the front, two in the back. So what it is there's screw holes. There's four, and what that's for is there's a chrome trim thing that goes and holds in door panel. I don't think I'm going to use those. Probably not. I'm just going to do it this way. You can use them, but it's kind of a strip that has a C channel that you screw in, and then you can pop your door panel in. I'm not going to use that, so we may have to kind of see the screw hole right there. Should be another one right there. This one in the corner. Now there, that's for that trim. So I'm not going to run that. No, we're going to keep it just nice and clean, flushed up. So I do have them, but yeah, I don't want to use them. Actually make it a pain to get the panel in and out. You got to bow it in, because you screw those in first, and then there's like a C channel, so you have to bow your panel in, and then you pop each end. I mean, it's a good design. I just don't think I want to use it. We may change our mind, but we'll see. That's it for now. So now I can mark that on the board as well. That should be everything. Pretty sure. Pull this down. Yep, that's everything. So these are your two door poppers, and like I said, these are your rails, top and bottom. So now I'm just going to go work on the rear, and we'll trace these out and cut. I'm not going to show it, but it's the same thing as I did on the front, just a lot more complicated, because you got the, this shape here. You gotta match. This one does have the three poppers on the front, two on the front, three on the rear. 2, 3, and then uses the same piece. Door trim holder piece uses the same thing. So yeah, this is how fun this one will be. That shape. Yep. Nice panel done. It's perfect. Edge going perfect. Got the 2, 3 of the poppers marked. So that's 5 total. Plus the 2 knobs are good to go. So there's the rear. And for the other side, I'm gonna double check it, but just take it and go straight onto the other side. So 2 for. I'll just run through this real quick. It's kind of a simple but long process. So these were the holes right here where the original door popper things they went in. These holes. These are marked in the door. So with this style, you don't drill this hole out. So what you do is you line this center up with the hole, and then what I do is I take a pin. I'll do it left-handed for you. So we line that up, and then I just draw right here on the back side of it. So what you have to do is this has to go in, and you got to stop here. So basically it needs to sit right here. So this has to be cut out. It's going to go in here, slide this whole tab right here, sits behind this. So what I do is I center that, mark that, I mark it back because that's where it has to have room to go in, and then we'll be flipping it over and dremeling it out. Here, I got an example for you right here. Here's one I did. I put the clip centered up on the hole, drew the line, went a little forward, a little back, drilled that out, took the Dremel, squared it out, flipped it over, so I was able to see all the way up here, and Dremeled this out. And so what it is this is too thick for this. See that? It's too thick. You don't want to force this, it won't sit right. So what you do is you have to Dremel this down a little bit where it sits right. So here's how it goes. Put this like this, that. Flip it over so you can see this side. See that? And you just slide the clip forward. Boom. Has a little bit of room to move, not much, super tight. So then when you put your material on, it's flush. If You can do it two ways. You can leave it just like this, or you can take wood glue or whatever and coat all this to make it even stronger. Doubtful you'll ever have to pull these out. These are metal. These aren't plastic. They go into a plastic insert that's in the door, so you can glue that, strengthen it up, and then when you cover this, you won't have anything. This little hole won't matter. You won't see it. That's how you do it. Getting it out is kind of a pain, which is nice. What I do is I take a screwdriver, lift it up right here, and pull at the same time. Make sure you're in camera. So put the screwdriver underneath. Don't stab yourself. Slide this back as you kind of pry it up a little bit. Just slide it. Comes right out. That's how I do it. Didn't push them all the way in, but you see it, perfect. Lines up real good, so that's all I need to know. I don't want to push them in all the way. Don't want to wear out the plastic insert. So he said no, it matches, and it's got a little bit of play. Like these can move a little bit in here, so get a little bit of forgiveness if you're not dead on. But that was the whole point of doing the cardboard template, is to get everything real close on the money. See, like that's the top one. So centered, that's using that cardboard template. You can do your adjustments and all that before you put it on your final. So these are templates, but they might even be temporarily used. So I have the cardboard templates, so what I do is I might make these temporary for now, because like I said, I'm trying to do everything I got for free that I already own. It's not free, everything costs money, but I believe this is the one with the silver back, which you can tell that came out of the Oldsmobile. The original color was black and silver in that car when I first painted it, before the red and black with the skulls. But this is all being repurposed. I am one panel short the passenger side. I don't have panel board for that, so I might get like a 2x4 piece. I don't need a whole sheet. Knock that out. I still have to do the same thing to the rear, the cargo area, and that I'll probably be using this kind of board, because that will be temporary, and temporary means maybe for a year or whatever, till I get to the audio system fabricating and stuff. So for now, I'll just make straight panels. But yeah, I mean, you can still do fine adjustments on these. Say you needed to drop this panel down a little bit, you can come back up with a Dremel, and you can Dremel up, so you can just take it and then just cut an extra top piece, extend this, and then it'll be able to move. So yep, I've done that on real stubborn ones. This one, I don't think I'll have to do it. A lot of the plastic things, but like I said, these are plastic inserts, so that'll fail versus the actual pins. Yeah, see, this one's silver. It tells me that was definitely the Oldsmobile. This is most likely this was the trunk spare tire cover or something like that to flatten it out. I don't know. Then I put a fuel cell in and pull it back out. So yeah, either way, the way this was cut, pretty sure. But with this style, unlike newer stuff, you would have a plastic popper going into a steel door, so your plastic popper fails. So that would make it a pain for this, because you don't have a mold where they can slide in and out and replace them. I could have easily used plastic poppers in here. What you do is you countersink the round area and put them in, which is all fine and dandy, but what happens when they wear out? Then you gotta undo your vinyl, whatever you got, to get access to them, and then mess with the panel. Versus these, likely chances they will never fail. What you'll have to replace is this plastic insert that's in the metal, so you don't have to tear apart all this. This is more of a final longevity design. That's why I'm going through the extra steps of drilling and routing this flat area out to use these, because they were the original, which I have another whole set of doors, so I pulled the ones out of these doors plus the extra doors I got, so I got tons of these clips. Now originally there's a trim right here that goes around, and this sits in it, and what you do is you bow this to get it underneath the top lip and the bottom lip of the trim that runs top and bottom. I can drill out and put these connectors in, but I'm not going to. I don't think on this door I'm going to have a problem with the center, because I have the outside poppers holding it, plus I'm going to have, here's a bolt hole, here's a bolt hole, These are for the armrest. You're going to have that pressing, holding that in. It bolts through the panel. These are extremely tight. I'm going to have to get the plastic round caps. They go on. They're going to be pressed on here, so when you roll, it doesn't rub on the felt. It rubs on the plastic washer. It's going to have that here, plus the bolt here. That should be more than enough center, so it won't be popping out. So I don't think I'm even going to mess with drilling holes, doing any of that stuff, because I'd have to drill these out bigger for poppers. But and then I have to address this. Then I'll go back to the same scenario as if the popper ever failed, broke, whatever. I'd have to take the material off to get that out. But I don't think it needs it. It'll have the center push it, pulling, and it'll have 2 points, 3 points here. So, yeah. Well, that's the door panels for now. I'm not going to show the other two, the rears. Same process, drill. I already drilled all the holes, you saw that. Square this off, and then square that off. Countersink, slide them in, that simple. There's your door panel templates. Next video on this might be me covering these. I'm just doing a black vinyl. No sewn, no design, just cover them. It's all temporary. Least amount of money, more important to get the car on the road.